All right, good evening, guys. Pemmelaar here, Chief Trading Officer at QUOINE with an update regarding the WorldBook, Liquid, and a few other exciting things. There's, the community has been asking for us to give an update to answer a whole bunch of questions out there. And so hopefully I'm going to be able to address a number of these. First of all, I'm going to talk about the WorldBook and MMOs and where we are on that and what's happening. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the liquid launch and how we're doing on that. And how that's going to happen, how it's going to roll out, how it's going to affect your accounts, what you should expect, and a kind of interesting little sneak preview on how it's all going to come together and how the front-end GUI is going to change, etc. Then I want to talk a little bit about the lending app, which I think is an exciting area of Liquid that we don't talk about much. We mentioned it in the white paper, but it's sort of downplayed. But it's been significantly improved and it's ready to go. In fact, it's already live. I'll talk about that in a moment. Right, okay, let's get going with number one. So, MMOs, WorldBook, where are we on that? So last week, Mike mentioned, or he gave a video both in English and in Japanese regarding what happened with the JFSA. So for those of you who don't know, the JFSA issued a business improvement order to the 7 main or largest crypto exchanges in Japan, including ourselves. In that, they issued a number of specific business improvement orders. Now, how does that affect MMOs and why am I mentioning this? We, as Mike mentioned in his message, we have a development team that handles a lot of things around the matching engine and the subsystems, particularly the subsystems around the matching engine. That's in finance what you would call the mid-office and back-office system. And that is one of the focuses of the JFSA. They've asked us to improve that, and they're very serious about that. Now, we take our regulatory status extremely seriously. We believe that in the long run, the successful players will be the players that are on the right side of regulation. And so far, that has proved to be the case. So a number of our resources in the development team have had to shift their focus from the subsystems around the MME, the MMO-focused development, to these JFSA requirements. And that has put us back a little bit. So, but what were they working on? Let me tell you a little bit about what had happened up until that point. So we launched the MMOs. Some of you may not be aware of this, but they ran 24/7 for a little over a week in BTC, ETH, and BCH. And well, they were only MMOs on our own market-making orders, and in this particular case, those market-making orders were intentionally set at very wide spreads because we didn't want to discover problems in the worst way. And we did have some MMOs go through. We found 2 particular errors. We surfaced 2 things that were extremely important that needed fixing. One is around the allocations that occur and how they're settled with white label customers. So we have some people who completely white label our exchange. The amount, for example, in a BTC JPY trade that's matched against a BTC USD, we, instead of settling with the correct JPY amount, we were settling with a JPY denominated amount in USD, which is obviously completely incorrect. We caught these errors, but we obviously cannot continue to have them. Similarly, we had a kind of a related error in margin. So for those of you who don't know, if you're not coming from a financial background, margin is not trivial on the back end. There's a number of things that have to happen. In fact, there's somebody that lends the cryptocurrency or the fiat to somebody else. That's often us doing the lending. Keep that in mind. Coming back, we're going to talk about that in a moment. So it's non-trivial on the back end. And what we discovered with the MMOs was that the clients were being properly allocated their amounts, or there was an issue from client to client, but in the residual exposure that results from an MMO, there was an incorrect allocation. And obviously that cannot stand. That's a serious issue for us, a major risk issue if it happened at scale. And so we had to address that immediately, and that's what a lot of our development was focused around. Also some stuff around better risk measures, etc., stuff like that. The plan here is going forward to, once the development is finished around what the JFSA requires, is to return those development resources back to the MMOs and the WorldBook and to continue on as planned. So that said, what I do have for you today is something interesting. What I want to do here is I want to queue up a video. So first of all, let me just open up this video. So what you're seeing here is, if you see, I haven't started playing it yet. This is a recording of what happens when you turn on the MMOs, and we're only talking about a subset of what we're going to turn on in the full WorldBook when Liquid launches. So when you turn on the MMOs and you MMO BTC JPY liquidity to BTC SGD. So what is specifically happening here is that orders that are in the order book in the BTC JPY market are being FX adjusted and placed in real time into the SGD market. Okay, so that's what you're going to see here. So I'm going to start playing this thing, and you can watch it about the 12-second mark. So as you can see, we've just started playing here. Hold on, let me just, there we go. So we just started playing here. And you can see it's about 276 yen spread. That's about $2.50 or so. And you see when the MMOs kick in here, watch this spread, $40 in SGD, boom, drops down to $5 from almost $40 SGD down to $5. And that's only the beginning, right? Once the liquidity starts to come in there and the spread tightens up, you can see that these spreads will even tighten naturally more because the SGD traders will start getting in, right? So here you see it drops down to 87 and boom, 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 down below you can see all of these orders coming in, right? So, I mean, it's just like night and day when you turn them on. And keep in mind that this is only one market's MMOs. That's one market going from BTC JPY to SGD. We don't even have the reverse on in this demo. So, and we don't have anything else, right? So we're not talking about taking USD to SGD in this case, or anything else to SGD. We've got just one market, and what a difference that makes. So I hope you're excited by that. I am excited by that to see how it works when we finally turn these things on. So as I mentioned to you, Liquid and the Liquid launch. So we have had to push it back a bit. But that said, we are moving forward in two areas. So the back-end stuff has had to be delayed, but the front-end stuff and the mobile are looking very good. I'm regularly working with our mobile team now, and it's fantastic to see it all coming together. And on the web app or the desktop, depending on what you think of it, it's our new team, particularly John Myers, has done a fantastic job at improving many things. And to give you that, I want to just give you a little bit of a kind of a sneak peek on how that's going to look. So here's the Liquid welcome screen. So when you go to liquid.com, once we're approaching launch, you will see this get early access screen. And when you fill in your email address and you click in there, you will be instantly subscribed to a mailing list that will keep you up to date as to when it actually is going to go live, and allow new customers to sign up. So you can see it's completely revamped here, right? A whole different look, whole different branding. Also, I love this, by the way. So you remember, if you're a QUOINEX user or a QRYPTOS user, there's a thing called Advanced Trade. Boom, check this out. I'm startled by what a difference. So you can see here, there's a massive improvement. Just visually, if you look at it, it's just so much easier on the eyes. It's so much, there's so much less noise, visual noise in it, right? And I just think, for someone who's sitting in front of a screen, a manual trader, possibly for hours a day, a professional or semi-professional trader, this is a massive improvement. And even for new users who are coming in, they may, all that extra noise in there that's happening in the screens, that intimidates them, right? So admittedly, this is the advanced screen and not really intended for new users, but even for people who are just past the new user, I think it's very clear here. You can see, in this particular example, we've got the charts on the right. Keep in mind, this isn't just a line chart, could be bar or whatever. And then the order book, vastly cleaned up. Much easier to understand what's happening here. Our order form for sending in orders has been it's been cleaned up as well. I think it'll be easier for people to order, and we're going to actually do a lot more in the order form. You know, for those of you who know, I come from a trading background, and I'd like to see improvements to make the orders just so much easier to place, like roughly auto pricing instead of having to sit there and type in the price when you have a limit, and other things, little things like that, you know, that easily allow you to change the volume you're planning to do, etc. Right? And down below here, you can see, you know, your watch lists. You've got some new screens here, total P&L, etc. The orders and the executions also been cleaned up, a lot easier to read here. Might get rid of a few fields that we find nobody's looking at anyway. So, you know, example, we have created at and created at, including date, that kind of thing. So some big improvements coming there. Also, other things, the new landing page and the way it's going to look when you start up the app. We're doing things a little bit differently. When you go to the exchange, currently you have to log in to see anything. We think what we want to do there with Liquid is we want to make it a source of information for people. Even if you're not a Liquid client, or if you are a Liquid client and you just want to know what's happening, when you go to the initial landing page, you're not going to see some sort of please sign in immediately. That's going to be there, of course. You're going to need to sign in. But you're going to have what we call the markets page, which is kind of a summary of what's happening in the market, the BTC, TH, etc., their prices. And if you scroll down a little bit, other markets as well. Right, so that's it on Liquid, you know, front ends, etc. Let me talk to you a little bit about the Liquid launch itself. What's going to happen there? So the important thing to know is that QRYPTOS will no longer operate. So we're not going to close down QRYPTOS. People who need to check their previous executions for historical data, etc., may need to access it. So QRYPTOS won't immediately disappear. What is going to happen is that effectively, QRYPTOS and QUOINEX will merge and become Liquid. Now, if you are only a QRYPTOS user or only a QUOINEX user, there's probably not much that will change for you or affect you in this merger. If you are a client of both, then what we're going to do there is we're going to merge your wallet. So if you have a BTC wallet in both, then we're going to merge your funds into a single wallet. Other things, additional features may become accessible to you. So one of the more interesting things, if you're a QRYPTOS user, the ability to trade USD. So of course, if you're a QRYPTOS only user and you haven't set up a bank account or anything, we can't let you withdraw fiat, and we can't let you deposit fiat, but we can let you trade in and out of it. So to give you an example of something that will be possible is, you know, a lot of people are, when the market's moving down, they may want to go to fiat, and if you're on a crypto to crypto only exchange, there are some fiat surrogates like USDT. So people consider that a bit of a credit risk. You'll be able to go to true fiat. And you'll be able to trade those markets. Of course, to deposit and withdrawal, if you haven't set up a bank account, you won't be able to do anything, of course, in fiat, and you'll be basically a crypto to crypto only user for withdrawal. So I think that's an exciting innovation there. I think, you know, there's a lot to say about that for people who are crypto to crypto only users at the moment. You know, some people asked a little bit about regulatory issues and how we deal with that. I don't want to go into too much technical detail, but I will say there's going to be a kind of function called currency entitlements. So based on your region, you may or may not see certain currencies. And there'll be similar stuff like that. Of course, everything we're already out there with, for example, the ICO mission control will be part of Liquid as well. We'll be adding in a little something new there, not on day one, but what we're calling, I think we're going to call it Quick Exchange, which is really aimed at beginners, just really, you know, the retail users who are just entering the crypto world, who just want to purchase crypto and hodl. Which brings me to our next subject, about the lending app and long-term holders of crypto. So the lending app, it's mentioned in the white paper, but it's not really it's not brought to the forefront. We really haven't stressed it. But in this AMA, I want to stress and tell you a little bit about the lending app and what's happening with that. So we have a lot of institutional clients come to us, and what they want to do is borrow crypto. Conversely, we have a whole other set of whales, of institutionals, of large holders, or even small holders who are holders of crypto who would love to earn interest. And that's what this lending app can do for you. And in fact, this lending app has existed, but we're beefing it up, and it's actually even gone live, sort of reintroduced live in QUOINEX. So if you are a QUOINEX user who does not have restrictions at the moment on lending, then you will be able to use, you're already able to use the lending app. So let me bring it up here. So I'm going to use the demo account here so that you guys can follow on. So I'm just going to go and click on open a demo account, and then I'm going to continue a demo session here, and we'll just log in. So normally, going forward in Liquid, you're going to end up at the markets page. When you first start, you'll go click on lending. So let's have a look at lending. Here, when we first arrive, we see we're defaulting to USD, right? So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the mechanism and what's really happening here. So lending, who are you lending to? You're lending to margin traders. That's who you're lending to. Is your crypto ever leaving the exchange? No, never. What's happening here is this. Let's say that somebody wants to use the margin facility and leverage to trade ETH. And specifically, or they want to buy ETH, and they're in the ETH USD market, right? So they're going to have to borrow fiat to do that. Somebody's going to have to lend them that fiat. And who is lending them that fiat? Well, right now, the exchange does that with a margin trading facility. But with this lending app, you're actually also able to participate in the lending process, lending to margin traders, and to earn interest when they borrow your capital to do that. So let's start with a simple trade, BTC USD trade, ETH USD trade, where they're going to borrow fiat, borrow USD to buy ETH, right? So if you look down here, what you can see is market loan offers USD, right? So this is what people are willing to lend USD out at. So if you get in there, if you're a USD holder, right, you can do that, you can lend out. So this is an example of how it would look, right? And what these represent are what people are willing to lend at a given interest rate. So this is kind of like the order book of loan offers, right? And when somebody goes to make this trade, what we do is we look at, oh, they want to borrow money. Oh, look, they can borrow 10,000 at this point. And in the margin trading, automatically, this fiat is loaned out to them. And in the same thing happens. Let's say that they're planning to do, a $25,000. They're borrowing $25,000 where they're going to eat both these loans and a bit of this, right? So both of these will disappear from the loan order book as well as this. But how do you actually go and do this? Well, you enter in your amounts here. But let me take a moment here. I'm going to switch. I want to just show you something here. So you can loan out your fiat if you are in the proper residential jurisdictions where we allow you to do that. And you can lend out your crypto, which I think is the really exciting point here, right? The ability to lend out your crypto. And, to me, this is kind of, we're creating this marvelous matching mechanism here. So there are all these institutional buyers who are really interested in borrowing for trading purposes. They ask us, how can we borrow ETH? How can we borrow, for example, Dash here or whatever it may be, right? Conversely, currently there aren't a whole lot of places where you can do margin trading for in more of the altcoins. Yeah, you can do margin trading in BTC and ETH, and certainly in BCH. But after that, you're getting into the long tail, and it's pretty hard to find places. So we're really allowing these two sides, we're creating a platform for them to come together. The people who are hodlers, who are sitting there with this, significant investment in whatever it may be, a crypto, and they're willing to lend that out, provided there are proper security measures, which we have put in place, and custodial measures, which we have in place. And conversely, there are all these people who wish to trade using these margin facilities in altcoins, right? So we're basically creating a marketplace for both these people to match. And it's a win-win, right? Because the institutional guys, not even the institutional guys, just your average smaller player as well, if you want to lend out your crypto and earn interest on it, you will have the ability to do so. And in reverse, you know, in all these different cryptocurrencies, up until now, we haven't been able to offer a margin facility to do trading. Now we will be able to do that. Okay, so this is really quite interesting. So I'm going to switch over to ETH. I want to point out something. Now this is the demo version here, but there isn't a whole lot of ETH on loan at the moment, right? So there's definitely opportunities here, even if you're not a big holder. And these interest rates, you know, these are interest rates. They are not insignificant on a daily loan. I mean, over time, that accrues. You know, so, and now I don't want to say that they're always going to stay this way. I think as the market grows and both sides come together, you know, the market will grow more efficient, but they're certainly not chinchy little tiny interest rates, right? So now, let's say you go through this process, you put in something here, I want to loan at 2% or whatever, I'm willing to loan, say 100 or 10,000, oh, let's be a big roller, 100,000 ETH. Normally, if you had done that at 0.2, what you would see here in this particular loan, 0.02, this would jump from being 5 ETH to being 100,005 ETH, okay? And then, if you looked in the loan, what you would see is your loans on offer. So this is your personal screen. Right? This is showing what you have loaned out. So this is the demo version. I haven't loaned anything out, so we don't really see anything here, right? Similarly, in the demo version, in the transactions, you won't see anything, right? One thing, though, I want to draw attention to in the loans is this reinvest feature, which is kind of interesting. So let's say that, you know, you're just a passive investor, right? You bought some whatever, ETH or whatever it is, you know, Dash or whatever, and you just want to loan it out, and you don't want to watch it all the time. You don't want to have to be bothered with it, right? So what the reinvest allows you to do is, let's say your crypto gets loaned out, and then it gets returned to you. The borrower closes their trade, and it's returned to you. Well, at that moment, you're done, right? And that's it. It's no longer on offer, and it's a completed loan. So at that point, you would have to go back in and recreate your loan offer. So what this allows you to do is, as soon as your loan closes and the borrower returns the funds back to you, you re-offer at whatever price you were offering at, right? So it's just a way for you to constantly stay in the markets with a kind of almost like a good till canceled loan offer, right? And then the last one here, I think transaction is pretty evident, you know, as you loan out and the loans come back, it'll show, you know, loans going out, loans going back, what kind of fees you received, etc. Right? So type of loan, the gross amount, net amount, etc. Okay? So that is the lending app, and I am very excited about this. I think we're matching two markets that are desperate to come together. Really, I really think we are. You've got, you know, all sorts of people who want to borrow crypto for trading purposes. They want to do leverage trading. And on the other side, you've got all these people who are hodlers, who want to loan out their crypto and earn interest on it. So it's a win-win on both sides. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on the lending app. So this is there's quite a bit in this AMA here, and I hope you have appreciated it. I hope that has given you some sense of what's coming down the pipeline, and I look forward to giving you another update very soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, guys.